Hey, welcome to the comfy couch with me because I was like, you know what? If I could just like do videos from the couch this morning, then I am totally just going to be like, I'm like super comfortable and what the heck does it matter anyway? Because if I'm sitting in a chair in my office space, then what does it matter? I'm just talking to a screen anyway. Um, so I'm just sitting on my comfy couch. This is like a giant dollhouse that weighs like 600 pounds. Not really, but it's maybe at least like 60 pounds. So when it arrived in the box, because I guess my daughters had asked for a dollhouse for Christmas, and their dad got it for them. Like this was after we had gotten a divorce. And so it's like he just gets stuff for them, and I'm like, yo, I gotta like regulate everything about it or build it or like, he'll like get them. He got them tablets 1 year instead of like a phone and a computer, which is what I had asked for, so they could communicate with them. All right, so I want to know how you're feeling, and this is what wanted to come out. It's like, um, Four of Swords. You're thinking about something. Okay, well, that's not a feeling. What does that mean? So anyway, so like, yeah, I had to build this monster of a dollhouse and it took forever, but it was like right around the times that the girls were really getting out of it. Shortly thereafter, it took me like 2 or 3 days to build it, and I'm like pretty decent at following instructions and building. But yeah, so right now it's just sitting close to the front door, so it sort of acts as a shelf. And uh, but when I'm ready to get rid of it, like let's see, what do you call it? Like a garage sale next year? And it's just like right near the front door. And I can be like, all right, get it out of here. Because I don't like just throwing stuff out. Because if I have to just throw it out with like reckless abandon, then I sort of like kick it down the front stairs. So it will destroy itself on the way out. And I'm not trying to have that happen. So anyway, yeah, long story short, that's my dollhouse. And I was just blah blahing to get some cards out because I want to know how you're feeling. I just did a bunch of shuffling, okay? And Four of Swords is on the bottom of the deck. It's like, oh, you started out your somebody's got a case of the Mondays, right? You started out your Monday overthinking, right? And that was like the first thing that came out. But then at the bottom of the deck is after I shuffled everything up. It's like, don't worry, that's how you're starting out your day. You're just overthinking. Today is not going to go like that, okay? So what am I not seeing? Oh, this is what you're not seeing. Because here's all the things that you're sort of like, okay, what you're not seeing is the Emperor energy that's going to come through in your day. And Emperor's like, there's kings of all the elements here in the deck. And the Emperor is like in control of all the kings. It's like if the kings need more information that they haven't learned yet, they go to the Emperor for their wisdom. All right. So you don't know that this is going to give you a better feeling about what's going on today, of whatever you're like overthinking. But it's because there's like, okay, let me read all these in the upright. There's a tower, the world, and the Ace of Cups, which are freaking ginormous. Like, okay, first of all, this has got to be a super powerful reading because like this came up twice, once in the upright and once in the upside down. The Emperor is major arcana, number 4. Okay. And then this is like major arcana, and then the Ace of Cups is like, the aces are kind of the where each element starts out. So the cups is the water element, it's the emotions, and when it's like the number 1 of that, right? Because one it goes from ace to 10, all right, for every element. And so when it's at the ace, it's like instead of ace is high, it's like, yes, it's the highest energy, but it comes at the first level of each element, right? So it's like ace, and then there's a 2 of something, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So there was a tower moment, there was a completion cycle of the world, and now there's like new stuff flowing in. This is like a real difficult thing that you've been going through in the past. But like, so when they're all in the upside down, what I'm taking that as is that these things already happened. So you're like, well, why isn't this here yet? I know I've gone through all the steps. What is going on? So it's like, so this is still upside down. So like these things already happened, but this still isn't coming in yet. It's not like this already happened. It might have been like that you thought that this was what was happening, and instead it became this. And so you had to complete this cycle so that you could have a new one of these come in, right? But it's not here yet. But don't worry, because like this guy is on the side, right? Look at this ball of enlightenment over top of him because of this light coming in through the window. All right, so So that's how you're feeling today, all right? So don't worry, don't worry. It's just a case of the Mondays, right? Just seeing all kinds of other information here. Um, Six of Cups is about nostalgia. And if you want to just like distract yourself for a while, because let's face it, we're always distracting ourselves with one thing or another. Distract yourself with your own memories, okay? Instead of like inserting all kinds of other things and being distracted, yourself with your own memories, right? Go back on Google Photos and do some things. Look through it, or like just think about this day. Was this day ever important to you in your history for any reason? Like when you were a child. Um, we're coming up on Mardi Gras tomorrow. I know that's sort of awesome. Fat Tuesday. It's one of like um just one of my favorite celebrations because I think it's so awesome, this duality and this balance of like Fat Tuesday into Ash Wednesday, right? That's what that's about, man. I wish that we in my life, it's like me and my kids, we are all about it. We understand the significance of it. We have some things that want to pop out sideways. So let's just take a look at them. Um, and then it goes straight into like Ash Wednesday of like, okay, that was the feast before the famine, right? And then you get to feast again, okay? It's like Easter and whatnot. All right, we got Seven of Swords. So what are you thinking about Seven of Swords? You're like you're thinking about somebody who did something to you. You feel like they took your ability to change away from you. Okay. That you had this good idea and they took it from you. I don't know what that's about. And now you're like, so now what do I do? Right. So it's like, well, first of all, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Uh, Instead of worrying about it, do this thing. Go back into nostalgia and just start remembering things about your kids or about your animals or whatever. It will instantly make you happier. You can do it silently, might even make you cry a little bit if you let it. What do we have next? Because you have the Knight of Wands coming in. It's like you have some creative idea, but oh, this was how they work together. Okay. It's like these are thoughts. This was a creative conversation that you had and somebody like took it from you for whatever reason. But it's like wands are, they often talk about them as if they're another idea, but it's like that's the sword. So we need to specify what's the difference. It's that it's a creation. It's a new creation. Okay, it's a new creation and we're heading into springtime. So that is important because like the springtime is when things naturally start to grow, when the sap in the trees starts running again, right? It's like this is when they tap the maple trees in order to get the maple blood, basically like the blood of the tree. Let me take a sip. I've been talking for too long now. I got a tickle in my throat. But also that's my coffee with cinnamon and cayenne pepper in it. So um okay, so let's talk about some stuff here. And okay, this is like so perfect. All right. So what you're thinking about is like you're not seeing things, right? You're not seeing things. You don't what is going on. Excuse me. I really just might have to go and get some water. But let's see if we can move past this. Because I'm like hangman right now. This is the hangman card. It's like you put yourself in an uncomfortable position to learn something new, to achieve enlightenment. And that's what I'm like trying to do. It's like, can I discover how to make this go away without getting up to go and get water? Because I'm so comfortable. But this guy's uncomfortable. Okay, so let's talk about that right now. Am I really comfortable if I have this like itchiness in my throat right now? Obviously not. But let's see. It's on my right side. So that's my masculine trying to get my attention. Right side is your masculine energy. Your left side is your feminine energy. So my masculine energy is like, get up and get some water. You'll be fine. All right. So I'm going to pause it and go get my water. All right. Hang on. Okay. As soon as I had like gotten up to go and get the water, that tickle went away. And then I was like, oh yeah, but I do need my computer cord because like the battery was running low. And that's the thing that your masculine energy does. It's like your feminine energy did something to inspire you to go do something to make you feel better, right? It's like even if it was discomfort, it was like this tickle in my throat is like this discomfort, but it was inspiring to like my inner masculine to like get up and fix that thing, right? So that's what I did. I went to go and get water, but on like as soon as I stood up to go and get it, I was like, oh yeah, and I need my computer cord. So I go to get my computer cord and then I go and get my water, and then I realize like um oh, this gives me an opportunity to fill the water pitcher also, because it's like when you have a water pitcher but you have a lot of people using it, a water filter, right? It's like, isn't it just so annoying when you get to it and it's like completely empty and you just wanted to pour yourself a glass of water and like not have to refill the water pitcher? Anyway, so so that's what I did, and I got a pink glass because sometimes I use my can't really see that it's pink at all. Nah. Sometimes I use my blue glass for if I feel like I need support in the throat chakra, okay, the throat energy center, because that area is blue and it helps to give it more just encouragement to open up or whatever. But because in order to honor my inner masculine, to do something that was doing something for my inner feminine, I got the pink glass. Okay, all right, so let's move forward. And I just felt a little bit better getting up and like, even though I was already starting to be productive, like I've already taken the dog for a walk. I've already read like 3 chapters on, the other channel, the other section of this channel. And now I'm like moving on to this tarot reading. It's like, yeah, I've done a lot more efficient stuff than I normally do when it pertains to this channel development for the day. And yet, like, I still felt I didn't realize I was feeling kind of like gross and icky because I was like still for too long, right? And it's like 9:13 right now in the morning. So, um, there's still I need to make the transition from like doing all my wake up routine stuff to like getting comfortable in whatever else it is that I need to do for the day to be productive. So just getting up made me feel a little bit more like, oh yeah, I don't want to like sit back down and be all comfortable under blankets and stuff right now. It's like the sun is up a little bit higher, and that gave me the encouragement to just move forward. So that's what it was. It was like the moon, right? Okay. So it was like because we transitioned from night to morning, it's like the sun is out right now, but you were thinking about your thoughts. You're not like feeling great. You were thinking about like going back to sleep, right? That's what that other card was that we were looking at, the Four of Swords. And so you're like in this uncomfortable position. I mean, you kind of like, if you stay in an uncomfortable position for too long, it's going to give you the enlightenment of realizing that, oh, there's something I need to do, right? So it's not that like being on the couch was the uncomfortable position. It was that I had had time sitting on the couch and reading, but still doing something productively because I was recording it to the channel. But at the same time, it's like, sitting still for too long is uninspiring and you need to like move. So that was it. That was the thing. It was like I had sat for a period of time. This is when you learn to move on your natural like intuition, right? So it was my intuition to, maybe I should bring the computer over here. I already actually had the computer here when I woke up this morning and I forgot I had done it. But before I went to bed last night, I had printed out, I was like, I don't feel like doing anything more for like my channel development tonight, but I am going to print out some stuff that I had been thinking about so I don't have to look it up on my phone for what I'm going to talk about on my other channel today. So like I woke up with already having done a bunch of stuff for myself just by printing out a few papers. Like one um is calendar, right? So I can like mark down all the things that I do this week because that was something that I started up last week. So I just wanted to let you know, it's like when you feed yourself through your intuition, it's like you are setting yourself up for success without even knowing it. I got my back like all the time, and I like don't realize that I do it. I'm just moving on my intuition of like, oh yeah, since I'm up, I'm already going to do this thing, right? So it's like, but I'm finding that, oh yeah, because I had already filled up the water pitcher because I'm trying to um drink water continuously to just like cleanse my cells and move quickly or into springtime. I have this like cup of water that I constantly either I'm like working on emptying it, and then once it's empty, I refill it. So then I refill the water pitcher, right? So it's this thing. So okay. So the hangman was like that little tickle in my throat of enlightenment to like get up and get the water. But then when I got up to get the water, I did these other things so I don't have to wait until a time when I'm frustrated, right? My battery ran out, and that's how I found out that I needed to charge my computer. That would be annoying. So if this is okay, we're going through a time of transition. I think it's really important that you understand this because I'm going to try to explain it in real life terms of what that looks like. We're moving from a world in which we had to get really hurt and in a lot of pain before we were really willing to transition towards like something in resonance with loving ourselves, right? A lot of people, you go through like really hard relationships or jobs that are just not suitable for you, or like really strenuous exercise programs or diet programs that are just so difficult in order to change. And it's like we're shifting out of that really, really quickly. And so you don't have to get on board, but if you want to, the energy is rising up for that. It's like moving faster and faster so that instead of using pain to make changes, you can use your inspiration to make changes, right? Inspiration has a double meaning. It's like the things that make you think like, oh, I want to do something more, right? I want like, oh, the sunset is gorgeous or the sunrise is gorgeous. I would love to take a picture of that, right? And then I would love to have that picture made into like a painting or something that I can hang in the house, right? So, but also it's breath, right? Inspiration is breath. And when we think about like breathing out and breathing in, breathing out, when you're trying to learn give and take, they always say breathing in and breathing out. But let's think about what the opposite of inspiration is. Wouldn't that be expiration, right? It's like to think about breathing out as expiration does not sound good. It sounds like death. It sounds like you've retired, right? So, but it's like you do have to be inspired and inspired and inspired until you expire. Okay. All right. So, like, just understand that you're supposed to have tons of inspiration, because when people tell you when they get to the end of their life, they're like, I wish I would have spent more time with my children. I wish I would. They're never like, I wish I would have spent more time in the office. I wish I would have like worked that hustle more. I wish I would have done the grind. But it's like, that's never what they're saying, right? We already know this. Okay. And here's this, right? It's like what you actually wish for is partnership, and it's growing, but right now it's growing like perfectly in alignment with like the seasons. Okay. So don't understand. It's like all this stuff is happening for a reason. And like this, it's like you did the thing, you had to go through this like darkness and this like discomfort in order to figure out, so if we just take this literally to mean what it is, it's like if your if your money started out as a seed and it had to be grown, like, okay, so you could have one coin, all right, or you could, let's say that's the Ace of Pentacles, which is like the coin gifted to you by God. There is a story in the Bible of some, what is it? Money that was given by a father to like his three sons or something. I'm gonna have to figure out what that is. Um, but like, well, let's just turn it into a metaphor. So God gives you this pentacle, but the pentacle is actually a seed. Okay. Let's say it's like a sunflower seed. You could eat the sunflower seed, first of all. That's one way to gain from it, or you could plant the sunflower seed, or you could give the sunflower seed. Oh, this is a very important thing. You could give the sunflower seed to somebody else, because oftentimes that's what happens. It's like you see somebody else who's hungry. So you're like, here, take my sunflower seed. Like, I don't need it. It's not going to fill me up right now, but it might help you to sustain your life. So you give everything away. You give it, right? And it's like what you actually need to do, and this is the option that you have, is to plant that seed. And you have to plant it in fertile ground if you want to maximize its output. Okay. So that's the thing, is like the woman is the multiplier. So our feminine energy is the thing that multiplies us, right? So it was like my feminine energy inspired my masculine energy to get up and get me water. And then like it did all these other things. So even in the man's efforts, the masculine effort, it multiplied those efforts to help things be more comfortable from where I'm at. Now I don't have to like get up and, okay. So anyway, you plant the seed and then you wait for the harvest time, because if you planted the seed and you took the time to have like proper soil, and you water the soil and you make sure it's in the sun, the right amount of sun based on that type of plant, right? A sunflower needs to be in the sun. It's going to follow the movement of the sun. That's what it does, right? That's why it's called the sunflower. Um, and then at the end of the season, you have so much abundance because you have sunflowers for you to partake in. You have enough for, sunflower seeds for like everybody. And that sunflower is going to drop seeds on the land somehow. Like a bird is going to come along and start grabbing seeds out or whatever. There are going to be seeds that fall on the ground no matter what. It's going to happen. So then, in whether you try to or not, from there on, you're going to have sunflowers in that area for the rest of eternity. Okay. All right. So that is the multiplier, and how you have to wait for the right. Don't fucking eat the seed or give it away to somebody else. It's not going to do anything. All right. Because once you have, it's like once you have this huge harvest, then you can share it, right? But it's like you need to get into this space of this masculine and feminine energy that's combining in this like sacred spiral of the caduceus, like the snakes, right? Okay. Let's move forward. That was like what you're thinking about. These are things that are sort of like up in the mind space right now. And then we're going to move on to what are you like wishing for? What are you hoping for? What are the conversations going? Oh, what are you praying for? That's the best way to say it. Because you think that you need prayer for God to know what's going on with you. I don't think so. Okay, I don't think so at all. I think prayer is for you. God is already he's already animating all of your cells. He's in there with you, right? You were made in the image of God, right? So you're doing that to self-soothe. And I think that that's important. Okay. The bottom of the deck is coming out of the box, and I always like shuffle it and knock on it to clear the energy or whatever. So coming out of the deck is like you are wishing for people to be around you that fill you with like just joy. All right. Just peace. Like just people that you don't have to be overly they're not overly extra. You don't have to be super extra considerate of them. They've got a real handle on balance, okay? They understand you. You all emotionally fulfill each other, and I am looking at a fountain that I have, and it's like a little it's meant to be like an outdoor fountain, but it's like this large pedestal base thing with a little girl holding a bowl, and then when the fountain is turned on, that bowl drips water out, okay? So anyway, there is this like real wish for emotional fulfillment because you're like bored. And that's kind of what it's about. It's like you want to be interacting with others, but not just anybody. And that's the thing that you've learned is that you're wishing for people of your level to come in. You always have been, but you just didn't know you were like stuck in the space of like trying to find them. Going out with your masculine energy and having this sort of like checklist from your feminine. Your feminine is like, I want people to entertain me. And you're like, all right, check that. What, like what do you want in those people? And they're like, well, they have to sort of look like me or else they're going to make me nervous. And they have to sort of like act like me or like be in my neighborhood or else they're going to think less of me or, think too more of me. They're going to act phony. And so there's this whole checklist that you think that you need in order to be comfortable with people around you. And then your masculine energy goes out and tries to find that thing. It's like, uh, that's where I feel like every new space is like this matchmaking event that everybody does. It's like whether they're married or not, I feel like anytime anything happens, that we are in social experiences that people are trying to like match up, but they're doing it on the simplest level of like where they're using it as this like weird dating service, of like, oh, well, we're located in the same area. So I just want to like flirt with you to make me feel better. And then like being flirted with makes people feel good. So there's this like reciprocal action. And it's just like such low form garbage. Um, because you start to learn if you want to move more efficiently in this world and the energy supports it now and kind of like where we're at, what we're moving into as a society is that if you want to break away from like all the people who want to move slowly and think that being powerful and egoic is the thing that's going to bring us there, let them do that thing. That world is still going to exist. There's like millions and millions of worlds that live within each other, probably like 8.5 billion, as a matter of fact, because each person lives within their own self-contained world inside of yourself. Okay. Yeah, we all live in the same external world, but we also don't see the same like external world every day. It's because we're all in different places. All right. So there's so much important stuff to know that's so much more important than your little case of the Mondays where you're overthinking some things and just wanting to go back to bed. It's like realize that when you're in the right balance within, that especially the feminine balance, you draw in the right people who feed who fill up your cups. And that it's like everybody can bring their cup to the table because with these people, they're not taking from your cup. You guys are all sharing. You're like, do you want to try this? Try a little bit of my drink, It's like that's the type of energy that you can draw in when you know how you want to feel, not worrying about this checklist of who's going to make you feel that way. Okay. And then the chariot is like you moving forward despite all this conflicting stuff that's in you. This is a card, this is the number 7 card, right? So this has some like sacred oversight. This like a lucky card. Okay. It's like because to get the chariot to move forward, it takes some effort. It's not just like you deciding it. Like, I want to move forward, so I'm going to move forward. It's like all these conflicting things in your environment, in your brain, in your subconscious that's been fed there because it was programmed into you when you were like within your theta stage of life, which is like in your previous to the age of age of reason. They call the age of reason. It's like right around the age of 7. Okay. Because that's when you become imprinted. Your imprinting becomes complete right around the age of 7. You have this like Play-Doh brain prior to that, where your parents and your environment are supposed to like imprint all the necessary tools for life and pattern recognition in order for you to thrive as a future adult in society, right? If you were like a baby bear, um, your mother would have to teach you, and your father, I guess, would probably have to teach you about the environment, how to survive as a bear. Okay. But it's like to survive as a human is very confusing because we're using our brains to like create all these different unnatural things. They would not be in the natural human environment if we just lived in like a world of stuff that we didn't have to create, but it's more natural for humans to create things than it is for animals. So you have to understand it's like we're not wrong for creating things. We don't need to get rid of all human things. It's that you have to have a balance. Okay, because think about it. The reason why you don't see what a detrimental world that we live in is because we have a combination of old and new things. I want you to think about if every year and every invention that came out had to replace an older thing like cars, we'll just say cars because that's the easiest one for you to imagine. All right. It's like if you had to get rid of your car because a new one was created and we got rid of all the cars from the past, then you would see what a futuristic world we live in when it comes to like car technology. Okay. The reason why we don't believe in it and why we haven't moved forward into more efficient systems is because we still have old systems that we're working with, like old fossil fuels, that we already know that this is totally not necessary. Like, I think it's in Japan that they have a monorail that's based on magnetism. Like, that's that's like a futuristic idea, though I believe that it comes from like ancient societies of the past based on what information is out there today. I don't care if it sounds like stupid and weird and crazy. It's because like if the old people in the game of like Ford and Exxon and these people who support the system and have tons of money, they don't know. It's not like it's necessarily they're trying to be evil out there in the world. It's like, why would they be looking to future technologies if they made their money on fossil fuels? They wouldn't. So they want you to stick with something that works. You know how hard it is when something surpasses your level. Like, you know, if you were somebody who it required like some real personalized skill in order to do your job, and then they switch to this thing that's like computer generated, like GPT can generate some like great images for you in seconds that would take you like forever to create that artwork on your own. It's like, yeah, but isn't that annoying? This almost fell out, but it was like the Page of Pentacles is what's being offered to you. It's like a little message from your younger self. It's like the child within you. It's really got this different idea about what's going on with like how to bring in the life that you want, the physical life that you want right now. Okay. And you're moving forward towards it. Right. But it's like you have to let it be fueled by your children or like if you want to move through your day a little bit better and have a better relationship with your children, if you are a parent, like talk to them, ask them what they feel like doing, or if you know what their interests are, just celebrate one of their interests because you're going to benefit from it too, right? Especially if you don't know how you want to spend your time. This is so cool. I don't even know how this came out because, oh, okay. Okay. This is why, because it's a different card. Oh, yeah. These are beautiful. All right. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So we just keep looking and then we keep finding more stuff. It's not that I'm just like, trying to spin every single message into a positive thing. It's like that's the energy that I vibe at because I've had so much shitty shit happen in my life that I have to like always see the positive. I can't call myself dumb. I can't be like, why did you walk into that? It's like, I know I didn't walk into these situations that ended up bad for me. It's like, I always did the best that I could and tried to follow directions and tried to lead with my heart because I can feel the feelings of others. I can read others people's minds and thoughts. And their like emotions. So I know what it feels like to hurt somebody intentionally. I wouldn't do it because I like already know what their feelings are. They're already vulnerable to me in ways that they're not to other people, because other people can't see straight through them like I can. So there's something about like, I said that this part of the reading is like, what are you wishing for? What are you praying for? What does God want for you? It's the wish, the star, the wish upon a star. Obviously, what you wish for is your wish upon a star. Okay. All right. So that's what's happening. And it's like the way that it's coming is through this emotional fulfillment from the the page of cups is, it's just childish energy that's talking to this fish. They're like playing fantasy because and it's actually a shark. But would you believe your child if they told you, like, a fish told me how to be happy, or like a fish talked to me today and it made me really happy? It's like you wouldn't believe that, right? But as a child, you might have a conversation with a fish because it springs up ideas in you, and that's your intuition, okay? That's why children have imaginary friends because they're not really imaginary to them. It might not be that they're seeing them in their environment, but the ideas are there. So they realize that real eyes that there's reality. That reminds me of a joke from the new Crow movie. What tea is hard to drink? Reality. But anyway, um, if we think of that wordplay, real eyes, when you realize something, it's something that happens inside of your brain. But all of the things that happen inside of your mind produce a visual image inside of your mind. And your brain does not know the difference between a visual image that you created with your creativity in your mind, your imagination, your realization, realization, whatever. Um, and what you're looking at on your outside. I'm like pointing to like because I'm looking at paintings that I had made. So it's like I made those paintings. I'm looking at them right now, but there's a million more that I see in my inner mind. And so my brain is always already working on like creating a reality where that painting exists because I already see it in my brain. So it's like if the idea was developed in my brain, then it exists. Okay. If I want to bring it into my reality, then when my brain gives me the idea, oh, I should go and like sit down or like go and grab a canvas out and put it on the table. And like that's as much motivation as I need to have. Next time I walk by, let me take paints out and the brushes out. Okay. Next time I walk by, let me take a bowl of water out and put some towels down so I have it ready to go. Um, the reason why I do this is because like my ear starts to itch. So I don't know if that's a spiritual thing. It probably is because everything's a thing. So I just want you to understand it's like you don't have to like go and take a painting class. Of course, that sounds awful. Like just go and do one thing at a time. All right. Paint the whole background red. See what happens from that because you can always just paint over it. All right. So it's like that page of cups. We had the page of cups, we had the page of pentacles, and then we have nostalgia, which is the six of cups. And that was what I had said earlier with what it was going on here. It was like the three of cups, right? It's like oh, and I had said it earlier. There's something really important about cups going on right now. Is I think it's time for me to move on because my throat is starting to tickle again. So because I had already said that message, all right, think of things that made you happy in your childhood. It will transfer your energy within your day. So if you have a case of the Mondays, I just looked, it's 24:24 on the timer here, and that's because I had to like stop. I had accidentally stopped my video instead of paused it. Um, and like doing these things will bring you foundational stability and possibly like marriage. But most importantly, it's stability. And I noticed that it's like right up around a water fountain. So it's like a water fountain, it's not just a cup, it's like an ever flowing fountain. And I had just mentioned about the water fountain in my corner. That's like a little girl holding this cup that pours out. Okay. So it's like, I think that I am going to have the opportunity to move into a new environment soon because I've sort of been like in this environment that I didn't really deserve. Um, I deserve something a little bit better. And that was because I was just like, instead of using all my stuff to move forward in my self for myself, I thought that was selfish, right? So I used all of the like turmoil around me to move forward like the chariot, but it wasn't for me, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's not emotionally satisfying to me. And part of it has to do with like this house. It's like, cause so much of my money in my past was used for houses that I was never going to be able to stay in. And so it's like, I have spent $250,000 on houses that I don't get to have any what do you call that? Equity in. Okay. It's like that's not my problem. That's not my it wasn't my idea to have it that way. It's like that those were the most responsible choices for the situations that I was in. So I have to just fucking let that go. Okay, this is like a confirmation. I have to just let that go. That like things in my past were not emotionally fulfilling, but I had to move forward. And the reason is because I'm like I put that deck away, but we had the world and the upside down. It's because I already did this walk. If you walk away from this, right? You walk forward. If you walk forward far enough, you go all the way around the world because it's not a flat earth, right? So it looks like it. And we've got all kinds of things that could prove that it is. It's a sphere. It's a sphere of influence. When you walk all the way around it, or if you're a crow and you fly all the way around it, you come back to see that you have the Two of Cups, right? So it was like the Two of Cups. Where was that? Did I put it away? Oh, I think I just shuffled it back into the deck, but we did see it. That's that unification within from going all the way around your world and coming back to see what was behind you that you didn't know. You couldn't see it. If you turned around, you wouldn't have believed in it right then. It would not have mattered. You would have like probably knocked them over intentionally, accidentally, or just like been like, dang, I spilled all my water. Oh, here's two. I'll just drink from them right away. It's like you don't understand the reason why they're there. Okay. So you had to go all the way around the world to utilize that energy, right? I'm just going to leave it off at that. So I do, I think that what these cards are showing is that you're going to have some new type of like home and relationship soon. And that's like, doesn't have to be environmentally. You need to be satisfied with your environment around you and realize how that current environment already, you need to have gratitude for it. Like this environment protected me and my children during a time when we had no like real protection. Didn't, it cost the majority of the money that I have made, but it didn't, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't cost much to live in the space that I live in. That's what allowed us to survive. Well, all the stars aligned for us, right? That's what astrology is important for. It's like, in a lot of readings, they tell you we listen to the fact that like this person really fucked up because they mishandled you during a situation, or like you mishandled another person or a situation. It's like none of those things really matter if you want to get emotions involved in it and be like, F you for treating me like shit because I'm a child of God. It's like you can do that, but also you just weren't ready because the stars were not aligned for you. It's like God prepares a place for you. You've heard of that, right? God prepares a place for you. It takes time, right? It's like if the trees aren't grown yet to get the wood to prepare that place, you can't have the place prepared for you. So just understand and come to an acceptance with this stuff that we're seeing it again. God prepared a place for you, okay? And you're going to be getting messages about it from your inner child and find it, okay? You're going to find it. I love you. Bye.